I've got Mike Saindon and Mott here from Porto Garibaldi, and we're going to talk a little bit about the best way to help our coasties.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Shaena. Yeah, the big thing right now, I want to say first off on behalf of the crew there and Master Chief Dewey, they want to thank everybody. They really do appreciate the outpouring of support they've received and everybody caring. This county is just phenomenal when it comes to that. And that's the giving nature of this county is always impressive. But with that being said, the crew down there is getting overwhelmed. First off, they legally cannot accept anything. They're bound by government ethics laws and all this other stuff. And despite the current situation, they're still not legally able to accept things, anything over a $20 value. And aside from that, all the phone calls they're receiving and all the people knocking at the door are actually starting to have an impact on their ability to do their job. Us as retired coasties, we can get out and speak for them and where they legally can't. There's a lot of activity going on. I know there's some great stuff happening by the community right now. Everybody from PUD to the cities and some other local businesses are extending lines of credit. The crews are going to eventually get paid, but right now it's that stress and that fear, that uncertainty they're going through that's really kind of causing a bit of disruption in their normal lives. So
they don't need to be disrupted when they're out there protecting us.
We have crab season going on. They've got, we know we just lost a boat down in Newport, and they're out there. The Coast Guard as a whole has been watching Tillamook Bay for over 100 years, and both Mats and I are very proud to be part of that history. So right now, what people can do is work with maybe the local food bank is one thing. One of the easiest ways to give would be through gift cards if people are looking at and want to do something that could help the individuals. Gift card to Fred Meyer's or Safeway or local gas.
How do people, someone says, I want to give some gift cards. What is the easiest way to do that? I heard you mention Fred Meyer's. They shouldn't be taking them to the station.
No. We're going to, at the Porto Garibaldi office, we'll have a bowl at the front desk, and we'll get, if people would like to donate some gift cards, they can bring them to the port office, and then we'll ensure, again, as being retired, we've got some backdoor ways in, or get them directly to the individuals that need them. Wonderful. without kind of compromising the legalities of the command there and putting them at risk. Again, a lot of folks have helped out. Everybody, even the co-op showed up at the station and said, hey, we got a pallet of dog food and a pallet of cat food, anybody that needs it. And it's great. Everybody knows it and loves it. If anybody really wants to make a cash donation, the nonprofits can accept that. The easiest way for the station itself right now, it's the Chief Petty Officers Association. It's affiliated with the Coast Guard, but it's a nonprofit organization. And I have an address. If somebody would like to make a cash donation, preferably in a check, they can send it to the Chiefs Association, but they just need to mark on the bottom of it that they want it earmarked for the crew at Coast Guard Station Tillamook Bay.
Perfect.
And that's the Lower Columbia River Chief Petty Officers Association at P.O. Box 34, Warrington, Oregon, 97146. And then it would be attention Tillamook-based Coast Guard.
Perfect.
Other than that, working with the local food banks, CARE is working to establish and willing to do something. And something else to keep in mind, we're all focused on the Coast Guard crews because they're working right now. They're not getting paychecks. They still need to be driving to work. Talking with Chief over there and Master Chief, they're only a few days into this right now. So things aren't desperate. And when things are going to start, one of the worries is that, if people start donating a bunch of food and donating a bunch of stuff, if this goes on for a couple of weeks or, God forbid, a month or longer, then that's when the real needs are going to start.
Right.
But again, right now, both Neocony and Tillamook School District, Bay City, Rockaway, Garibaldi, all the utility providers, PUD, everybody understands that and knows that they're going to get paid, and they're willing to, kind of give them a little bit of a grace period on the water bills and the electric bills and everything in order to make it through this period. And the crews will come in and square up. Mott's just heard that Sheldon Oil is willing to help out there at the Garibaldi station with the crew.
I'm not surprised.
Extending credit to them. So that's the big thing. And what our focus is, Mats and I look back at when we were in command over there and when we were doing it, one of our biggest worries is just, like I said, at 3 o'clock in the morning when that call comes in, we want to make sure that crew is focused for their safety and the public safety.
A distraction they don't
need. They can't be. Yeah, go ahead.
It's hard, it's hard to go out there and run a case when you're more worried about whether your kids and your wife are taken care of. and go out there and concentrate on what they're doing, and without that worry there, they can go out and do their job correctly.
Yeah.
And with that worry back at home, it not only causes them stress, but it can also cause a prolonged thing of an accident or whatever, because they're not concentrated on what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with those bars and everything else, is when you're crossing them, your mind needs to be there. So, taking care of the family is big.
And, and this transcends politics. This transcends everybody's political views. We all have our views on what's going on, but, this isn't good. In my entire career in the Coast Guard, we've had shutdowns, but never to this extent. This is, I haven't proven this, but it's everywhere, and I see it everywhere. The fact that this would be the first military service in the history of the United States to not receive a paycheck.
And I think most people realize this. The Coast Guard has been around since the Revolutionary War.
President Washington basically got the revenue cutter service going through Alexander Hamilton in order to fund the bills from to enforce taxation on incoming goods, to help pay the bills for the Revolutionary War. So the Coast Guard, in different shapes or form, has been the longest continuing seagoing service. It's something we like to point out to all our brothers and sisters in the Navy. But the Coast Guard doesn't fall under the Department of Defense for a specific reason, because the Coast Guard has domestic federal law enforcement authority, and as per the Constitution, military services under the Department of Defense cannot enforce laws upon the citizenship of the United States. So by keeping that separate, it allows the Coast Guard to perform that wide range of duties by having those law enforcement abilities. So, and it's something else to keep in mind as everybody focuses on the Coast Guard. We do in Tillamook County have a large number of other federal furloughed employees that are also
BLM pops to mind.
BLM, and then on top of that, retirees as well. Mats and I, we stand to not get our retired paycheck, but we're okay. We're going to be fine. We're not worried about ourselves. We're worried about those that aren't, because we have other sources of income. There is a large percentage of retirees of different federal
income.
That's their only income. So this is going to continue to be an issue. Again, transcends politics at this point, and there's a lot of retired senior Coast Guard staff that are not happy right now and are very critical of what's going on. And again, doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. A lot of people are viewing this as a failure as a whole to the system. We're able to get out. Mats and I are able to get out and say things that we couldn't when we were wearing the uniform. But we just want to again reiterate that Master Chief Dewey and Chief Widows and everybody at the station and the families, they all appreciate and cannot thank everybody in this community enough for the outreach and the pouring in of support they're receiving. They just can't physically accept stuff that comes to the door at the station.
What's the hours at our port office?
Monday through Friday. The doors are open from 9. Yeah, it's 9. We get there a little earlier, so I don't know what time they unlock the doors, but 9 to 4:30-ish, because it depends. Sometimes we have a small staff, and sometimes they have meetings or have some other place they go. But we're there.
There'll be a bowl on the counter where you could drop off a card for Fred Meyer's or someplace like that.
Fred Meyer's, Safeway, gas station, and then the local food banks are going to be standing up to help as well.
But don't take any stuff more to the station itself.
Please don't. Again, they appreciate that, but and the phone calls. We're more than happy to answer questions for folks if they want to call the port office. But it is just overwhelming the crew down there, and it's giving them a hard time doing what they got to do, and that's watching out for the rest of us. So.
Well, Mike will help get the word out, and thank you both for your service, and thanks for being here today.
Thanks, Shaena.
Just thank everyone for their outpouring for coasties right now.
It's wonderful.